Well, we'll see.
All the cars will come to pit road. They will park out on the number outside of their pit box for a 10-minute break. Now, what crews can do, perform normal pit stop procedures. One other thing they can do, they can lift the hood and put the quick cool down on the radiator to cool the engine down. They can recirculate the water out of the radiator to cool the motor down, but everything else, no spring changes, no gear changes. They can adjust shocks, but they can't change shocks or sway bars. Normal pit stop changes.
So it's Mayfield, Ward Burton, Todd Bodine, Jeff Gordon, Rusty Wallace, Dale Jarrett, Tony Stewart, Steve Park in 8th. The other magic number is 12, Elliott Sadler. Matt?
Well, the 12 car, Jeremy Mayfield, hits his pit box. He and crew chief Peter Suspenzo talking over what adjustments to do to this 12 car. Since we are under the yellow flag here, we do not have to have a major rush. He was a little bit loose early on, but it seems like the car has come to him, so he and crew chief Peter Suspenzo are talking things over as they're changing tires. To Dick.
Well, Ward Burton is complaining really the car is a little bit loose getting in. Tommy Baldwin doesn't want to do a whole lot to it because his reading on this thing is that these guys have got the fastest car in the place, so they don't want to adjust very much of it. He's looking at putting some more tape in the nose of the race car, but really not a lot of changes, and what they're trying to do is get this thing set up so they've got the best car for the last 10 laps. That is their whole goal. They don't care much about 50 grand. They're looking for $500,000.
There's the 10-minute clock. So the teams get a chance to take their time with their changes and adjustments. Now the running order at the time of the caution at 30 laps: Jeremy Mayfield, $50,000. Ward Burton, Todd Bodine, Jeff Gordon up to 4th with that backup scooter. Pole sitter Rusty Wallace, Dale Jarrett, Tony Stewart, Steve Park, if 8 is the magic number, would move to the front. Mark Martin, Johnny Benson, Terry Labonte, and Elliott Sadler, if they invert the maximum of 12 cars, would go to the pole. Kevin Harvick, brakes are locked up. He has flown the coop and headed for Nazareth, Pennsylvania, where FX will televise the Busch race tomorrow. We'll get the number for the invert and give you the starting lineup for segment 2 when we come back to Lowe's Motor Speedway. Welcome back to Lowe's Motor Speedway. Now, if you like numbers, in the 8th spot is car 1, which means if you flip that, that would be car 1 first position. But in the 12th spot is car 21. And if you reverse 12, that's 21. And if that's the right number, then he goes to the front. And then when that clock down there gets to 2 minutes, we'll find out just what they'll do.
I'm telling you, when you get this late at night, you scramble, don't you, bud?
Yes, you do. Dick Bergeron, what was the problem with Bobby Labonte?
Well, it's a couple of problems with Bobby Labonte's car, both of them related to the engine. Mark Cronquist, the head engine builder, has just been underneath this automobile, and what he was attempting to do was to get a little bit more oil pressure in it. That's a real serious problem. The other problem is there's something wrong with the top end of the engine, causing it to lose power. Labonte definitely in trouble. To Matt.
Well, Jeremy Mayfield in, talking to Darrell Andrews, making some adjustments in here. Jeremy, how is your race car? It looks very good. You picked up some lunch money there in that first segment.
Yeah, we needed that. You know, we've been working hard this year to get this thing turned around, and we know we got fast cars. We just got to capitalize on it. But I'm just proud of this race team. We're going to tighten it up a little bit and go from there.
What adjustments did you make?
We put a little wedge in and then pull a little rubber out here and there and just see what happens. We made a few minor adjustments. We're pretty good, though.
They looked very stout over that first run.
But where will they restart? Since he led at the 30-lap mark, he will restart either 6th, 8th, or 12th.
See, one of the things that always got us in trouble was, yeah, his car's pretty good, let's make some changes, and then you get it way off. That's the only bad thing about stopping and working on them. You can do anything you want to, and that's not what the crew chief wants to hear.
Because when they started this first 30 laps, start of the race, all the rubber was washed off the racetrack. Now we've got 30 laps of racing with 20 or 21 cars. That rubber's starting to get down on that racetrack, Darrell. Normally rubber on the racetrack will start to tighten back up.
Tighten up a little bit.
Turn is good.
Yeah.
Hood's still up on a lot of these cars. Mark Martin's, Bobby Hamilton's, Jeff Gordon's, Bill Elliott's, Ward Burton's, Tony Stewart's, Terry Labonte's cars, Steve Park and Matt Kenseth, all still with the hood up and work being done there. Jerry Nadeau also.
Because, Mike, I've never known a crew chief or a driver that wouldn't tinker with the car given the opportunity. Here they got 10 minutes to figure out how to mess up a really good car.
Plus, they want to get these motors just as cool as they can get them, because the cooler you can get them, the more tape you can run.
Dick Berggren.
Rusty Wallace crew is having some conversation with Rusty Wallace right now, and they're trying to get this car to handle a little bit better. They've stuck a spring rubber in the right rear corner of the automobile to try and get it squared away. Robin Pemberton, the crew chief, is in there, and Jeff Thousand, he's the chassis expert. He's got his head in there, and a bunch of other people. We can't even tell. There's so many heads in here all at once. Let's go to Victory Lane now and find out how many cars are going to be inverted.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, for a very important announcement concerning the second segment of tonight's running of the Winston, here's Mr. Rick Sanders, President of Sports Marketing Enterprises. Rick?
Thank you, and I can honestly say good morning, race fans. Listen, since we began the Winston 16 years ago, it has been a showcase for the best the NASCAR Winston Cup Series has to offer, the All-Star race. But it's also been about the fans, and this year we have added a new fan element. For the first time, you had the opportunity exclusively through NASCAR.com to pick the pack and decide how many cars should be inverted in the second 30-lap segment. I've got with me, now that you've made your decision, Drew Reifenberger, the Executive Vice President and General Manager of NASCAR.com, and he has just handed me the results. What we will do is make an inversion based, again, on that fan voting, and the results are as follows. For 6 places to be inverted, 13% voted. 14% said 8 positions. 25% wanted to see 10 positions inverted. And the majority, and therefore the number that we will invert tonight, 48% voted for 12 positions to be inverted for the start of the second segment.
Well, that's a surprise.
To who? To who? Now, wait a minute, guys. Larry and I both told him it was going to be number 12, Darrell.
Oh, yeah, well, I knew y'all. I can't agree with y'all.
And we didn't read no book, did we, Jeff?
I can't agree with that.
We know how race fans are. We used to be one.
Yeah.
Well, we still are.
Meanwhile, that was your pole sitter right there, Elliott Sadler in that 21 car.
And Terry Labonte will share the front row. Johnny Benson and Mark Martin. Steve Park and Tony Stewart, row 3. Row 4, Dale Jarrett with pole sitter Rusty Wallace. Jeff Gordon and Todd Bodine, and then Ward and Jeremy. Bobby Labonte and Jeff Burton. And on back through the rest of the field. So see, that 21 and 12 thing kind of, it didn't work too bad. We'll be right back for segment 2. We are nationwide, and we are all night long at Lowe's Motor Speedway in Charlotte. Welcome back to the Winston on FX. The first 30-lap segment complete. Jeremy Mayfield, $50,000 richer, but he will restart 12th. And at the very back of that field, Kevin Harvick is back in his car and back out.
And the reason they can accomplish nothing. They're 16 laps down, but what they are trying to accomplish, they can't accomplish nothing as far as this race. This is the car they intend on running in the World Coca-Cola 600 next week. They can shake it down. They can test right here in what more perfect conditions to test. But Darrell, if I'm his crew chief, I'm saying, give me about 500 yards between you and that crew.
And get way back. And you know what this race reminds me of tonight? I used to do the all-night radio show with Ralph Emery in Nashville, Tennessee on WSM Worldwide Radio. And that's what this race reminds me of. It's going to be an all-nighter.
All right, Bobby Labonte's had some problems. Here's Matt.
Well, Mark Cronquist is the head engine builder at Joe Gibbs Racing. Mark, is there a problem with the 18 car?
I don't think so. I can't tell you for sure, but I think he said the motor he didn't think was the greatest thing he's ever had for the Winston before, but He's got an oil pressure problem, which is just under idle. We know what it is. We can't fix it right now, but we're going to try to. We know what it is, so we can fix it at the shop and stuff like that. It's a piece of paper got on the grill and the oil temps got really hot, and that bleeds a lot more. So.
When he got passed by Jeremy, did he try to start dropping back to about the 11th or 12th position?
He was shooting for 12th. He said he missed it by half a car. so hopefully nothing's wrong with it. He just said it's not the best motor he's ever had. So.